H.O. Talk Show.
I am H.O. Talk Show in our booth in the building one more again.
That's right.
Man, tell a friend if you haven't already. If you have, tell another one. Because nobody can do it, like Sir Charles Max and Razor.
Tell somebody and make America great again.
I don't know why you keep playing around with that.
He played too much. He played too much. Razor was that kid, like that took jokes too far, when you're joking with each other.
Always too far.
Always got to go too far. See, pushing that boundary. So I got a question for you, Razor.
Yes, sir.
You been pulled over yet?
Have I?
You been pulled over?
No,
hold
on the side.
You've been pulled over yet? And the cops say our flock camera is questioning this vehicle.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Not in Virginia. Let me say that. Not in Virginia. Yeah.
All right. I mean, like since you want to talk about some of the conservative agendas, you want to play around voting for it, then let's talk about it then, right?
Well, no, what I'm saying. Look, I can feel Max shaking her head. Look, I've been married for that long. I ain't got to look at him, right?
You can feel the wind.
So, look, all I'm pretty much trying to do, honestly, on a moment of truth, is to make sure I wake y'all up. You know what I'm saying? Because when you hear something that you don't particularly like, you become in tune with whatever's getting said, right? So the main thing I want y'all to take from that is vote in order of your interest. Look at everything that's going on. Look at the fact of, if I normally come in and have debates and destroy people, and now I'm afraid to have debates because I can't have the shenanigans that I used to, that means something. You know what I'm saying? If the people that I'm bringing along with me are agreeing with the other side and kind of coming to a meeting of sorts of respect of one another, that means something. You know what I'm saying? So
let me ask y'all this, though.
Yeah.
Since we had the chief of police on talking about the cameras and he tried to dispel the myths about it, since that time, have either of you gotten new information that should put people a little more at ease, or do you feel like it's just as questionable?
I'm going to go ahead and take this. I know what the program is, you know what I'm saying? And it comes down to, and Chief, if you're listening to this, you're my boy, but I'm going to keep it clean here. It comes down to the people that you have working for your organization.
Right.
And unfortunately, we have too many situations where it's questionable about the people that's supposed to protect and serve us.
Right.
Now, regardless of what that individual looks like, if it happens and you say, look, this is a problem and we fix it and we move forward, that's one thing. But if we keep having things in place that are questionable, and then we put things like the PCOB in it to like kind of navigate and make sure everything is going correctly, and you put reins on them to where they can only do so much, so much information can go through, you have to wonder, is the system designed to keep from being held accountable?
Yeah. And that's
go ahead, real
Max.
quick, Charles. Just to clarify for our listeners, because many of you, I'm sure, are asking, what is the Flock program? Flock is a public safety operating system that helps law enforcement and communities work together to reduce crimes. Okay. This is according to just a typical Google search. And it actually is a license plate recognition camera program where if there's a crime committed that happens to, and a vehicle was involved that happens to pass through any of the locations where a Flock camera is, it identifies the license plate, not the driver, according to the information that I'm aware of, not the driver, just the license plate itself.
Yeah, it's called profiling.
Thanks for clarifying that too, Max, for the listeners that weren't aware. That's for sure. But isn't it as with all things, like when we think about laws and rules and stuff, with all the bills that get passed and within government, on the surface it can always look one way, but it's always about the people that's implementing it, right? Right. And even like when we talk about policing in general, when we talk about police profiling and stuff in general, it's on one hand we say we want to clean up streets, and then on the other hand we get mad that people that are committing crimes get locked up, right? You follow what I'm saying? Like, and like, so there is always that middle ground of saying we can't be scared, because I hear a lot of activists like ride this wave a lot too, where it's like we can't enact that law because they'll use it wrongly against black people.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
That's true.
So like we got to somehow do the activism that actually lets us have the right laws in place. But while we also keep the people in office, they're going to implement the laws correctly. We can't blame the thing. It's almost like gun control. You know how they always say guns don't kill people, people kill people. It's the same kind of thing. Same logic.
It's this is the way I look at it, right? Things don't change. They just find a different way to tell it to you so that you can accept it. You know what I'm saying? So, and I say that because there's power in control, and certain people have figured that out. When it comes to what you were talking about, Charles, I don't see how we're not in positions to make the actual decisions, because too often I feel they choose the figurehead that they want to give you the poison. And if I can make it, you think that this one looks like you and acts like you and whatnot, then you're less likely to put your activists out here or listen to the activists that are telling you the truth. So as long as I can slide you an envelope in a closed door, I can put your kid through to schools that they couldn't naturally get into, we're always going to have this problem. Now, the bigger problem is, as much as we just enjoyed everything that we went through last night, our community is divided, and we are divided in thought. We're divided in actions. We're divided in finances. We're just a divided community as a whole. And I'm talking about nationally. Like somebody can do something and it can be too black, too ghetto, too whatever, you know what I'm saying? But that same thing can be done, put some a music note behind it, and we all celebrating it. You know what I'm saying? We can see a young lady walking down the street and she's half dressed, and we'd be like, she ain't got no home training. She shouldn't have came to church like that. And then that lady can be on the video and you talking about, man, put on Sports Illustrated. She the finest thing going. Man, she got, you know what I'm saying? So really,
what we talking about, Charles?
Our community. That's what I'm trying to say. We divide.
Hey, look. So, my issue with that though is that like so many times we're talking out both sides of our mouth though, because when one of us gets successful, too many times the first thing that we jump to is that, oh, they must have sold out. Oh, like they're the figurehead. And like we don't even give people a chance.
A lot of times we have though.
That's why for sure.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying, but the thing is though, is like I always tell people, it got to be a domino effect. You got to have 2 or 3, kind of like how the Bible says 2 or 3, touching and agreeing, in my name, that kind of thing. It's the same thing with business. Only way we're gonna move ahead is if you get first a small group setting the example, and then that thing replicates. But as long as
he said touch and agree, you talking about puppet? He ain't talking about puppet, is it?
So look, back to the discussion about the flock program, though. I have a bit more information and raise this to your point.
Yeah.
The areas where the cameras are installed are not just in our predominantly Black neighborhoods, and those listening can visit charlottesville.gov to get this list. But they're at Emmett and Barracks Road, 250 in Rugby, Long Street in Freebridge, Monticello Avenue in Druid, Roosevelt, Brown, and Cherry. And I mean, I'm sure some people listening that live in these neighborhoods, West Main and 10th, University Ave and 14th, Cherry Ave and Ridge Street, Ridge and McIntyre and Preston, and Preston Avenue and Grady.
Do people understand, Max, that profiling is both ways though? Profiling isn't just, we associate it with being bad for Black people, right? But profiling also lets you know who's supposed to be here. It's like a membership. So depending on who's in charge of the camera, you look at it and you say, yep, they're supposed to be here. You know what I'm saying? And they do it the same way. Let's say, for instance, back in the day, you have a predominantly Black area and you see a young white guy come through there. You'd be like, oh, he ain't supposed to be here. He must be purchasing drugs, or he the police or whatever. So profiling is almost like in the Bible when people say you reap what you sow. Well, most people that I knew where I was from didn't read the passage before that told you if you reap good, you sow good. You reap bad, you sow bad. They just they weaponized it to say that, okay, you reap what you sow meant something bad. I know that's the house I grew up in. My mom would say it to me all the time until I actually picked up a Bible and read it and said, Mom, why didn't you tell me this part? She said, nobody told me.
Okay. Hey, that's what it's about.
You know what I'm saying?
But Max, that list, you still got that list up?
I do.
Because did my ears deceive me? Or all those intersections you name has a pretty dense Black population.
Mm-hmm.
Am I correct in that?
For the most part.
For the most part.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, let's be real.
And I'm not too familiar. I'm not from Charlottesville, so I'm not too familiar with the lay of the land, but I've also been told it's also the parameter. It pretty much is the parameter of the city.
You mean the prison? I mean, think about it, right? Because that's just another way of think about hunters that have field cameras, right? You put the cameras out there to see what comes through. And then when you decide to harvest that animal, you know its pattern. You learn it. You know, we're seeing it with AI. You know what I'm saying? It all incorporates into one another. So if I see your car, know you don't have a license, and murders happen, drugs start happening, open air market, whatever, I can put pressure on you and say, okay, do you want to lose that new job that you just got down at the distribution center? You know what I'm saying? Because I know you ain't got no license. And
it's even deeper than that.
X, Y, Z for me. So it's deeper than just monitoring somebody, shots fired. Like last night, 15 shots fired somewhere, right? The thing came across my phone. It's bigger than that, right? It's a means of control. Yeah,
because it's even the perpetuated generational incarceration of our people, because it's even deeper than what you just said. It's you could be kin to somebody.
Absolutely.
And so you're driving their car, or you like visiting their home, and you going in and out of the same street, right? And so now you're on the radar.
Yeah, that's how I did my time. That's exactly how I did mine.
You know what I mean? And so that's the problem, is that we're perpetuating like this generational issue. If in fact it gets implemented in that way, which I hope it doesn't, but based on the placement,
it's already implemented. It's already implemented. Let's just be real. These things that by the time they bring them to us, they've already been tested to see if it works. Because nobody is going to bring a failed system and have it attached to their name. So it has already solved some cases that we didn't know nothing about, verified some information that people made some complaints about. You know what I'm saying? And then once they put the cameras up, they're also going to put, Lord, please, police, do not mess with me from this. This is my old life. These cameras are going to have speakers on them. So when shots are fired, it's going to range out what that 9mm is and how far it goes. That's another reason why the canopies being cut down are very important, because they don't dampen the sound. Like these are, this may be a life I had or didn't have at one particular time. You know what I'm saying?
Somebody told you.
Please don't go. I'm in church now.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying?
But Max, thank God for statutes of limitations.
Okay,
right.
let me just take this one. I would be remiss if I didn't.
That's the truth.
If I didn't read one paragraph further, right, Race, and then we'll get your thoughts on this.
We're up against hours.
So
now I'm gone.
What I have here is that, listen, so protecting the privacy, I'm reading from the city website again regarding the FLOC program. Protecting the privacy of our community is crucial. We want to stress that all data collected by the system will remain strictly confidential. Data captured by the FLOC system will not be constantly monitored. The still frame images captured are strictly for official law enforcement purposes only. In most cases, captured data will go unreviewed and will be automatically deleted in 7 days. Still frame images captured will be restricted to law enforcement purposes. Law enforcement purposes only, and will not be used for the following: facial recognition, personal identification, traffic enforcement. They gave you their word, Razor.
No, look, all right. I know how to frame things, right? My wife tell me all the time, don't you be framing no conversation to say whatever, right? No. So I am very good at framing. If I give you what I want you to focus on, you're less likely to ask the questions that are really going to harm you. So if the camera and the microphones, which they should pick up, I'm not saying that they shouldn't pick up shots fired and things of that nature, right? Then it alerts the cameras to check anything coming through this area within a certain time frame. It's almost like the Jersey Turnpike. We used to go up the Jersey Turnpike on motorcycles 150, 160 miles an hour, get right to the end and pull off on side of the road and wait till the time frame went. Because we realized that it's a mathematical equation from when you got on to when you got off. And that's how they judge your speed.
Makes sense.
Right? So we learned to beat the system by pulling off the side of the road and just giving it time and then pulling through. Right? So
but I got one question
go off, they're going to look for the cars that are in that vicinity.
So, Razor, are you saying that this sound pickup thingy, whatever it is that you're describing, is that potentially like an add-on to this program that we've already implemented?
How many cameras do you know that don't have microphones connected to them?
I ain't never had to worry about
no,
that.
No. Like
I don't look, Charles. I don't know a single one
on your computer, on your computers, on these, the ones that we use here that y'all use. These have microphones on them, so it will be used for a good purpose. But guess what? If it can pick up a gunshot, it can pick up a conversation.
Yeah.
Sure. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay,
so you don't actually have to commit the crime at that time.
Than I thought you were.
Right. Yeah. You just have to look at. I mean, this is
but I'm with you.
This is things that I saw back in the 80s and early 90s, right?
Yeah. So last question.
Just making it here.
So last question, just before we go to break.
I'm not sure you're supposed to be giving this kind of game away, but go ahead.
Hey, look, they're gonna come get me.
But go ahead.
So without me saying which side could be right or wrong, or like whose intentions are good. Do you think, because based on this conversation, my mind leads to, do we think and believe that you can take something, like you said, that may have been used for bad and use it for good?
Yeah, it's a necessary evil.
But what I'm saying is locally, because that doesn't answer the question.
It does.
It's a necessary evil. It has to happen because we unfortunately have adopted the do not snitch clause to a fault. We watch people get.
Kids don't even know what snitching comes from.
They don't know what it means, right? Yeah. So we watch women get beat. We watch people get killed. We watch women get raped. We watch children come up missing. So if I can go after, and I commend the officers for doing this, if I can make you focus on the crime, right, of drug selling, shots fired, stolen cars, all these things, right, and you say, yes, solve those problems. The default mechanism is I will be able to utilize it in these other areas right here. Because if things raise above a certain octave, the cameras go into effect. So the shriek of a person, because they're being attacked, will make the cameras start recording. Now, if it ain't no problem, it ain't no problem. But that whole thing about Max you talking about, by like it'll only be looked upon about certain people. Well, once they give the oath, they're certain people. They're considered certain people. And then that's why so many of them abuse their power. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is, and cops, I'm not against y'all because y'all are a necessary evil, Is
that fair?
Is it fair? Yeah, because the police department grew after slavery was abolished. And
I mean, it's definitely fair.
And their
like, I'm just one that
is their purpose.
Right. It's definitely fair. I'm just one that thinks that we will continue this generational trauma if we don't get past the point of thinking that something that was bad or people who use something for bad can't be used to our good.
It is for good. You hit me in my mouth, I'm calling the police. I'm going to tell on you. You're going to jail. You know what I'm saying? You're going to sleep on a 3-inch mattress. Like, it's a necessary evil. Now, do I understand that the same officer that would shake my hand and give me a hug and help me change a flat tire out at Lowe's, or a grandmother taking her grandson to school, which has happened, and my 2 younger boys watched me and an officer lay on the ground and change a grandmother's tire. Soon as I pulled out from there, if I look a certain way to another officer that looks just like the one that just helped me, decides to follow me and see if I got warrants and wait to see if I, follow me so close that he pretty much makes me cross or gets too close to the line because I'm nervous, make me turn down. I'm turning down my radio. I'm trying to do my hands 3 and 9 and all this old crazy stuff. But he looks the same. That's the problem. That's the only problem I have here where we live at. It's the birthplace of America. The same person that is racist against you looks like the same person that will hug you, kiss you, and fight for you.
So what's the solution here? Like,
we have to survive it. We have to survive it. There is no thriving in it because.
Or what can be changed? We talking about police community relationships. We talking about systems.
I don't think there is a.
Y'all didn't like my answer. Y'all didn't like my answer because I gave y'all an answer a minute ago. We got to start believing in people again. It's kind of like what you said about when we lose something, we then make make us lose relationships. And
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be that way. Like, I feel like, again, that you can find the right leadership. You can find the right government officials. You can find the right police officers and whatnot. It's all about the hearts of people, because otherwise we constantly going to be saying, oh, remember when they did that to us 10 years ago?
Yeah.
If we want to stay stuck there, we can.
But it's a reality. You look at people's social media. I look at different people that because
So, Razor, you're saying you got to show me different in order for me to think differently.
They can't show you different because the people.
But who is they?
The people in power. Whoever's in power.
But we got to put the people in power. That's what I'm saying.
We can't put.
We can't base it on the people in power from 50 years ago.
We can't put the people in power.
Locally, we can't. I agree with you if we're talking about federal level. Locally, we absolutely can.
It's no different because we say
locally we have more control
them early before they become big, right? So that means that the federal people were once local people, right? So how do they get there? They get there because they have more money to put more signs in the yard, and people think, well, they must be a better candidate because they're more relevant in my face, right? So do I think that there can be a change? I'm saying no.
Man, you're making me depressed, bro.
I know it's not. Like what it should be doing is putting you into action so you implement plan A, plan B, plan C.
I feel you.
And that plan A incorporates everybody in your circle. That plan B incorporates everybody in your circle. That plan C. Now, for lack of a bad way of putting it, and I know y'all gonna have a problem with me saying this, when it came to like terrorist people, when we went through 9/11 and I started reading books and understood what those cells were like, they have people that when this cell gets knocked off, the next one comes into play. It's almost like the skin of your body. When this skin gets knocked off, it creates a scab and the next one comes up and it's their time to be in charge. If we act all our systems out, plan A, plan B, plan C, and everybody knows plan A, plan B, plan C, you can protect it. And when you say, okay, well, they got Jimmy's gone for whatever reason. Sally, it's your time to go up. Everybody gets behind Sally. The negative things work that way. That's why they're able to go generation to generation to generation. Evil will always be here because it knows when it's my time to come up. It doesn't pull each other down like us progressive woke people do. You know what I'm saying?
Without evil, there'd be no such thing as good. You got to have a yin and a yang.
Yeah, you have everything, and regardless, you'll have situations to where people might come together to take down a monument, and then 5 minutes later, they're against each other. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And as us as black people, we scared to talk about it, or we wait to see the fallout to see who disrespects who the most.
Yeah, all right, we got to roll. We way over.
Oh, okay.
I keep looking at Max like, get your husband.
Yeah, ain't no
we got people waiting. 15 minutes past the break.
Yeah.
Get your husband.
I'm just saying, like, we it's not a matter of doing better. It's a matter of understanding where we really are in mental thought. Because I'd much rather know that you're a jacked up person and this is how you think. So I know how to incorporate. Look, don't bring him down because he's going to act crazy. Bring it, we need crazy, so bring them down. You got to be honest with where each person is instead of talking about one another in back rooms and then trying to expose them behind a keyboard. I'm not with that. So regardless of who do it.